In this video, I want to talk about one of the most debatable topics, and that is chakra removal, one of the biggest scams out there. You decide. So, the topic of chakra removal has been coming up. And for me personally, I have received emails on it, just people reaching out, wanting to know my opinion, and also talking about a person or several people who they had a removal with and how harmful it was or how much damage they had. So I'm just going to say the horror stories that I've heard. I want to reiterate them in this video. Now, first of all, you have all these new age concepts, right? Which we go through in the playlist that I have, the new age deception and all of those things. And now you have all these dubious truther, or I like to call it mistruther concepts popping up, chakra removal just being one of them, one of many. And those seem to be the same amount of damaging, if not even more damaging. I also want to say it took me 3 trials to record this video. Some entity that is around these people promoting chakra removal did not want me to speak up against this. And the first few times I had like a coughing fit and my throat was blocked up and all those things. Very strange indeed. Now, there are quite a few people talking about the concept of chakra removal. It's not just one person, it's not just 1 or 2 people, but when you do look it up, at least a dozen or so pop up on this platform alone. And then, of course, when you look it up on a search engine, you will find even more people talking about it. To summarize, this is why I think it's the biggest scam out there, and I do not recommend it. As you will gather from this video is, first of all, nothing's removed, at least what I've seen. The energy is, on the contrary, blocked, and people report severe damage and also symptoms such as soul loss symptoms after they've had it done. And what I also found telling is when I was looking up some videos regarding chakra removal, there was this one video from a girl, and she talks about it around the year 2017, where she's all about it. She allegedly had hers removed, but then literally 5 years later, she has yet another video on it where she's completely backpedaling on that topic. And she's actually saying, no, you cannot remove your chakras. All of that is untrue. And she said a few more things in regards to it. But what she says about them not really being able to remove is also what I found. And so it might seem like a harmless scam for some, but for others, they seem to have a more severe reaction to it, which I want to discuss in this video. I personally don't believe anything is being removed. When someone comes to me, they say they had a chakra removal done, or they just talk about, the things that were occurring, everything, nothing's removed. Rather, it does appear to be a blockage that's being put on these energy centers, the energy body in general, but also every single energy center that we have, not just 1 or 2, like one person claims we only have 1 or 2 true chakras, whatever. No, it's actually every single one. You can still feel them. They're just very dimmed down, but once the blockage is removed, you can still feel them. And I do feel in turn, this can really damage the energy, or at least cause some confusion with the energy body, which is also highly noticeable with especially sensitive people or people who are more tuned in, people who are more empathic. And those are the ones that have come to me in the past and told me about how they felt after a dubious chakra removal procedure they've had done. I also think the 10 plus people who contacted me shows very well. I mean, this year already shows very well that there's something really off with this entire concept in and of itself. Now, I have a video on it from 2022, which I'll link here too. And to summarize, in this particular video, I am talking about how I worked on a person. She had a chakra removal done. It was done by this older couple. They were not advertising their services anymore, at least not on their website. But somehow under the table, when someone contacted them, they were saying, oh yeah, of course we still do it. You can still book it. What happened in her instance, though, is she didn't even necessarily book it, or somehow they just did it on her without her consent. And that's pretty messed up, in my opinion, at least. It's pretty unethical. But in short, what happened was there were completely confused the energy body. It was pretty damaged. There were a lot of things like blockages on her energy centers. There were other things related to the healers that need to be removed, like a lot of soul contract removals and all of that. But what concerned me the most is that she said she felt soulless. And that's pretty much the feedback I have received from quite a few people who reached out to me too. They just feel completely soulless and also dead inside after doing this. I don't think, one person claims the chakras are implants. I don't think the chakras are just an implant and it's just really easy peasy to pull them out or remove them or however they do it. And there was another person who was talking about how chakras resemble towers or nets and sticky, gooey parasites or something like that. This person has not been working with energy for a long time, I think only 1 or 2 years. And I think those are other entities she confuses the chakras with somehow, because she really doesn't have the background knowledge on it. But the other person who claims that these are implants, he should know better, because supposedly he's been working with this for almost 10 years, allegedly. We don't know. Now, because the damage that results from it has people pretty shaken up and confused and feeling empty, I'm personally a bit concerned about it. With other people that have come to me, they're saying their abilities are pretty dimmed down, especially like their psychic abilities or just abilities to tune into their own energy or whatever abilities they had before, completely shut down or dimmed down for 1 to 2 years after having it done. I don't think that's a good thing at all. It just shows something was done that was not really right or helpful. Maybe a shock or a trauma to the system is what I'm thinking. And then they have to build it back up or get used to whatever circumstance they're in. It depends on the person. I want to quote an email that I got this year. And I feel this email pretty much says everything you need to know. The email quotes, "I had a session with blank to remove entities. I don't know what he is doing. After the session, I touched my heart and I started to cry. After 4 days, I couldn't feel anything and not even think. Do you know what happened? Did he steal my soul?" And I just replied to that one, I've never worked with this person. I can't comment really on him or speak on his services because I've never felt drawn to book a service with him. But what I can say is that I do receive quite a few unhappy emails from other customers of his, but I'm not sure what he does exactly in his sessions. And I'm not drawn to any of his opinions at this point at all. Never really was, but at this point, not at all. And I have received quite a few emails on this person, by the way. There are also several other videos on him from others who claim they are damaged by him. One even accusing him of black magic. I'm not sure if that's the truth, but what is the truth is if someone works on you who does not know what they're doing really, a lot of damage can be done already. For example, if they don't know how to open up a healing session properly or close it properly, I like to call it the healing container, that can do a lot of damage in and of itself already. It can let through a lot of dubious entities that don't belong in a healing session. And from my understanding, this person's just wagging a crystal randomly, and that's supposed to be a chakra removal, or they're just doing other stuff, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Another thing is, if you, as this person or other people who recommend chakra removals in general, if you are really so convinced your chakra removal procedure works, why don't you just teach people how to do it? You know, it doesn't seem like whatever you're doing, whether you are just wagging something or scooping something out of the energy body, it should just be exclusive to you and your services, but you should be able to show people very clearly how to do it. And so instead of going somewhere to have someone do it for you, simply just do it yourself is what I always recommend. I mean, whether or not this is an important aspect, the chakras in and of itself, I don't really work with them, to be honest with you. I don't see a reason to remove them. I don't see a reason to emphasize them in a session at all. Of course, something's going to come through where there's a blockage here and there and all of that. But I find other methods are, you know, more important. However, there is some damage being done here, so we do need to talk about this because I find it concerning. For example, if you want to know how to remove a Kundalini, I actually teach that in a separate lesson in my course, Be Your Own Shaman. And that's also a course where you learn how to remove all the things on your own. And I think for concepts like this, where it's clear that they're more severe or bigger than a regular cord cutting or cord removal or something, some implant removal, I feel that's the only way you can really go about. You should be teaching others how to do it and let them decide on their own free will whether or not they want that in their energy body, and they want to do that to their own energy body. I personally would not want anyone really messing with my energy like that, and perhaps even messing it up to the extent that I've described above. So a chakra removal seems to be putting blockages on them, which can be removed, but it doesn't actually remove the chakras or energy centers. To me, it almost seems like a pseudo healing, and it seems to be causing way more damage and confusion to the energy body than before, at least for the people who are somehow more sensitive. And the main issue I really have is they don't seem to be removed. So what's the point of a chakra removal? It just seems that some don't know what they're doing. They don't have a clue what they're doing. It's double frustrating because the people paid for a service with them. They think they got what they wanted. And it's, at the end of the day, it's just hogwash. And it messes the energy body up severely for some, maybe even for most, but for sure for the people who contacted me and told me about it. It also seems to make people feel ungrounded and woozy. I'm personally really disturbed by the soul part where they were saying they felt dead inside and like parts of their soul were missing. Where's that part going? Like, are they trying to get to your soul pieces to look more vibrant with that? That's another part. What are these practitioners looking for souls from other people because they themselves don't have a soul, or what's really going on? Yeah, and then there's also another issue with some people just not being formally trained. And that makes matters really iffy because it is a bit like practicing black magic without knowing you are doing that. Whether or not they're doing it on purpose, it's almost irrelevant because the result is still the same. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to balance your chakras out at all or work with them, but I also don't think it's necessary, as this person and others claim, to have them removed. I actually think removing them in and of itself, as strange as this may sound, because I feel truthers are kind of always programmed to follow like these other truther concepts, but I think there's even an agenda behind that, and that either the person or the people who are pushing this agenda, they're not aware of it, or they're playing along to energetically damage as many people as they possibly can. But that's up to you to decide that. Another question that I have is, are these people who claim they're removing it, are they acting out of greed? Do they just not know better? Do they not care? Are they actually scamming people on purpose? Do they really think they are removing anything for the greater good? I'm not sure what's going on here, but overall, I'm not impressed. Let's put it that way. So I hope this clarifies it for some people, at least the ones wondering about chakra removals, and also the ones who have reached out to me in regards to it. Stay safe as per usual. Don't fall for everything just because some of these people have a following or memberships or somehow seem to have an authority in that field. That's all I have to say in regards to that. Until then.